Hey guys, it's Gerry from Rythmia Life Advancement Center in beautiful Guanacaste, Costa Rica on a truly amazing day. Rythmia is a life advancement center that uses multiple technologies to bring about a change that is real and that is long lasting. So what do I mean by that? Well, we use plant medicine plus ancient wisdom teachings, metaphysics, breathwork, food, a colonic cleanse to bring about an experience that happens within 1 week that changes your life forever. And you say, well, Gerry, how can you say that? Well, the way I can say it is that we survey everybody who's ever come through here. They get a survey when they leave, on the day they leave, and they get a survey 6 months later. 95.12% of those people, that's 951 out of 1,000, claim they have a life-changing miracle during their stay. 97.55% of them, 975 out of every 1,000 of them, 6 months later, say that this was the week that changed their life forever. So this is an amazing place. And what do? We merge people back with their soul. That's all we do. It's a very complex process to bring about a very simple event. It's the merging of one soul. As everybody sort of gets back to work and gets back into the swing of life, I want to talk about a couple of different things. So first thing I want to talk about, what is this? Well, number one, we are being called to the truth. We are being called to the truth. So the truth is actually looking for us and waiting for us to respond to it. Really important stuff. Where does that truth start? It starts within ourselves. Talk about the virus a second. I really want to talk about the virus. If you know anything about math, if you have a basic understanding of math, then you can see when you look at the infection rates and the mortality rates that the virus has already rolled over. Rolled over is just a term, a mathematical term that the numbers have turned, and they've turned dramatically. And I want to talk about that in a minute, okay? I also want to predict something. At one time in March, I predicted that the virus would have about a 17% infection rate and somewhere between a 0.26 and a 0.86 mortality rate. Those numbers are proving true. And now the CDC is even claiming very, very similar numbers. I also made another prediction, and I predicted that when they call death to the virus, we will enter a period of economic expansion that's going to look a lot like the Roaring 20s. And if we don't do our work during this period, we're going to wind up with the same result from the Roaring 20s, which is not a good result. It's economic disaster, famine, further separation. I want to see the 20s happen. I want to see prosperity. But I want us to have learned during this period the truth. And then, with this knowledge of the truth, and with us speaking about the truth, we are better armed to be cohesive in one unit going forward. Now remember this. Before anything can get back together, it has to fully split. So in other words, if you have an incision and it's half open, the likelihood of that sticking together is none. It has to be split to be put back together. This is a part of the cycle that we're in. We're in this splitting, and I want to talk about it, right? So we are being called to the truth, and the truth is an inside job. You can never get to the truth by outing someone, because the nature of that move avoids your own truth. It's a spiritual bypass. I want you to hear that. So we can never get to the truth by outing someone. Because the nature of this is a spiritual bypass. Because what you're saying is you're not a part of the whole. You're not a part of the whole. You're not a part of the whole unit. You're saying that it's separate, that something else is the problem. This is so super key, not only from a spiritual level, from a scientific level, and from a math level. This is the part of the whole process. Now I want to tell you something. I read something by a guy, and I very rarely read things here, but I want to read this to you. and this is, I swear to you, this is plant medicine 101. Reality is always true to itself. When you're in harmony with it, you experience bliss. As soon as you're not in harmony with it, you experience pain. This is the law of the universe. It is the way things are. Nobody gets out of this law. To me, this knowledge is a grace. Reality is consistent. Argue with it, go against it, and it will hurt you every single time. It will hurt you, it will hurt others, and it will contribute to general conflict of all beings. Bang! This guy's name, I'm not going to say it right, Adyashanti. Amazing stuff. This is all I'm saying. This is all plant medicine is saying. This is all the mother is saying. That when you're in accord with nature, and nature is truth, everything comes together. Everything comes together. So what does that mean? It means that as a collective, we have to agree on the conditions precedent. And you can't agree on the conditions precedent if you call allegiance to a thing that has 100 opinions. You can't, because they can't all be right. You have to be a free thinker. You have to be sovereign. You have to be in truth, even when it's in conflict with what you feel. This is the whole thing. Here's the good news. You're never going to get the populace to do this. You're never going to get 100% of the people to do this, but it doesn't take that. This is completely based on the butterfly effect. It needs tenths of a percent of the population to say, I am committed to independence. I am committed to truth, whether it makes what I believe hurtful to me or happy to me. I am committed to know the truth. So let's talk about coronavirus for a second. What is the real truth? Well, you have two things going on. You have this huge separation of classes, and by and large, the wealthier class understands mathematics really well. They've had more exposure to it. They generally have a business life or something like that. And the less wealthy have less of exposure to math. So those are the people who are most easily manipulated by fractions and percentages and things like that. And it's simple to do. And I want to tell you what, it speaks volumes about what we should be learning. Because here's the thing, everything comes down to math. If you do enough plant medicine journeys, you're going to see code. Everything comes down to math. Everything is math. But let's take a look at the virus now. And I want to tell you, people say to me, Gerry, do you wear your mask? I do. Do I think it does anything? Nope, not a thing. But I wear it. You know why? Because other people do. And out of my kindness and love for all people, I wear it. And at Auto Mercado, they won't serve you unless you do. You can't get groceries. No, but I really do. I wear it. And I saw the craziest thing the other day. I was in San Jose, and I saw an American family on an elevator, and I saw a Tico hop on the elevator without the mask. And I swear to you, you would think that he was carrying a nuclear bomb. It was the craziest thing. The whole family went like this. Just amazing how this works. So let's talk about really what's going on. And I'm not selling this virus short. I'm saying the virus is very real, and any real thing has mathematical equivalence. We can get there through math. So let's take a look at this. Right now, about 20% of people look like they get infected. 20%. Let's say you're unlucky enough to get infected, and you're under 24 years old. Your chance of death is 1 out of 250,000. So stay with me in this. Your chance of death is 1 out of 250,000. If you're 24 years old to 44 years old, your chance is about 1 out of 17,000 of dying. 17,000 of dying. And that's if you're lucky enough to be 1 out of 5 who can be infected, who gets infected. And now we're going to go to the next one. And by the way, I'm going to talk about the death rates in a second. If you're 24 to 65, it's about 1 in 2,500 chances of you being infected. Now remember this, winning the daily number is 999 to 1. 990, this is 2.5 times harder to do than win the daily number. Okay. And if you're 65 years old or older, it's about 1 out of 500, which is about the same mortality rate for a walker, a person who walks in public streets over a lifetime. So, this is what we're dealing with. Will it stress and tax a hospital system? Yes. That's why we're trying to flatten the curve and do all this, but please stay in reality about what's true. I saw in the news the other day, a woman maced a family who was eating a football field away because they didn't have their masks on while they're eating. So I'm going to tell you, you're getting pumped with all kinds of things. Get to the bottom. And if you do this with everything, if you do this with math on everything, you get to see how likely things are and how they affect you. And I want to tell you what, the more that you do this, the more that you get to truth, the more calm you can be. And the thing is, you don't have to be so opinionated. If this is the math, and everybody agrees on this math, then what do I have? Why do I fight with this person? I know the math. It's only when you don't understand the math that you need this strong opinion, because the Italians have a saying, arithmetica est non opinione, which means math doesn't have an opinion. Math is just math. So what we want to do is we want to look at all things like this. We want to look at crimes. We want to look at racism. We want to look at economic division. We want to look at corporate profits. We want to look at everything from a position of what is the mathematical truth. And I got to tell you something. If you're, and this is just statistical shit, if you're a hardcore Republican right wing and you believe everything that they say they're true, you're about right half the time. If you're a hardcore liberal and you believe that everything that they say is right, you're about right half the time. Just how math works. So why hate each other for a thing that we're only going to be half right about? Why not take a look at the whole thing and apply math and just say, okay, let's find out the truth. And where does that go before that? It goes to us. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. So, what are the greatest truth? What is trying to emerge here? And if you're afraid or you're in fear and you want to share this, please share this, because in sharing this, you can actually calm people down. I can tell you, if I was a kid, right, the numbers get ridiculous in the 10-year-old and thing like that. It's like, so it's so ridiculous. But even for a middle-aged person, you got nothing to fear. You have absolutely nothing to fear. You have nothing to fear. So, and the thing is, I have to tell you what, if it came down to catching this and not catching it, I would rather not catch it. I would rather not catch it. But if I get it, I get it. I have much better chances at succeeding in business ridiculously than I do of getting killed by coronavirus. Just fact. Okay, now let's talk about the real. There is no way we can get there by finger pointing. I said that. There is no way out. There is only a way in. What is the opportunity here with all of this is going? Well, the opportunity is to first get to the truth about ourselves, and then get to the truth about the conditions precedent, and then to be able to level-headedly state that truth when everybody else is screaming. Did you ever get in a fight where no matter what you said, you were not going to win because the other person lost their shit? Well, both sides have lost their shit. Now, here's where this one goes, and stay with me. When both sides lose their shit, this gets settled in the schoolyard. I hate saying this. This gets settled in the schoolyard, and who wins? Not the person who's right. Once you start screaming, you can't be right, because now all of a sudden all logic is gone, all truth is gone, and it's me versus them. It's this race against that race. It's this group of thinkers against that group of thinkers. It's flat earthers against round earthers. It's anti-vaxxers against and you cannot win. What happens is a hero will emerge. And who is the hero? The person who's strongest. This is what so sucks. The people who are screaming do not see that they're giving their power over to the strongest person to decide who's right. And in all cases, who is the strongest person? The person who's the most well-equipped, the person who's the most well-armed, the person who's the most well-funded, the person who has the stronger dogmatic position, the person who can infuse fear. That's the winner. The bully wins the schoolyard. The bully does. And by screaming and fighting and rioting and all kinds of shit, all we're doing now is we're calling on the bully to settle the fight. And I have to tell you, that is not how this should go down. So what can we do as a group? Well, we can be the reason in it. We can be the voice of reason. And I see people who hold themselves out as being spiritual. As soon as they start talking about that, they start frothing at the mouth. And that is not a spiritual approach to this thing. Spirit wants the truth. The mother wants the truth. God wants the truth. The further we get away from the truth, then the bigger the problems, because what we're doing is we're getting off nature into something superimposed by man. And I can get on that thing in a second, because we didn't even pay for the original bailout of the banks in 2008. We haven't paid for that yet. And there's more printed money and more printed money. We're entering very dangerous ground. And we have to get everybody to come back to the truth. We have to. Now, after the bully settles the fight, so in other words, if we fight at each other and fight at each other and fight at each other, and the bully comes in and settles it, whoever that bully is, I don't care if you consider Donald Trump a bully, I don't care if you consider Antifa a bully, whoever it is that settles it, they settle it and a winner emerges. And now what happens is one of those sides gets clicked down the side, and now all of these values are here, and we still have the underlying problem. Still. This is how important this is. Now here's the good news. It doesn't take a lot of us. It just takes a few of us. Probably 5% of the populace, 1 out of 20, to say, fuck it. I'm not going to wholeheartedly, blindly believe this shit. I'm going to sit down and try to find out the truth and the math and the this and that. And then I'm going to state my position that these people are right about this and these people are right about this. And this is the conditions precedent. And in order to fix these things, we have to get to you don't throw money at things. Here's the first thing you learn in business. If there's a hole, you don't throw money at it. You find out why the hole is there and you fix the hole. These are not situations that are going to be fixed by throwing money. All throwing money is going to do is get us worse into the problem. That's it. Until we can sit down and figure out why there's this inequality, why there's such broken families, why there's all of these things that are creating this division. Why corporate profits are so high. There's things on both sides. Until we can be real about this, we can't get anywhere. But the great news is it doesn't take all of us. It just takes a couple to sit down and figure this out. The only way we're ever going to get out of this is by going within. That is the truth. That is the truth. And you can tell someone who's going within, who's gone within, because they're super centered and right there. And I have to tell you, it's easy to lead people from that place. Because it's a place of truth, right? So when you're doing this, when you're considering all these things, all you have to do, and I'm going to tell you, here's the thing, it is over before you know it. This is the last, final, dead cat bounce phases of this thing. I'm telling you, this is the last, the final, the end, because the coronavirus numbers are going to roll over again to a lower point, and nobody can say in the next phase that they're going to be a problem. So somebody's going to have to declare the end of this thing, whether it's in their political best interest or not. And then these good times are going to happen, because pent-up demand looks like this. When it's curbed like this, it rebounds like this. It's just the way shit is. It's just the way stuff is. And so we don't want to come out of this After the bully wins the fight, we don't want to come out of this and think everything is great again when the underlying atrocities are still occurring, whatever they are. And when I say atrocities, I don't mean imposed by people. I mean systems that are not producing the right outcome. The systems have to be looked at, and that's what this is about. So how is that looked at with us? Well, first we got to look at us. Then we got to look at our children, our family, our community, our neighborhood. But it starts with us. The whole thing starts with us. If you're not willing to do this with you can't expect us as a society to do it with outside of ourselves. It is such simple, beautiful, clear shit. And it starts with you. And once you lay claim, it's really hard to point the finger at someone, because when you lay claim to yourself, you realize the connection between you and the whole. And when you realize that connection between you and everything, you can't be mad at these other pieces. What happens is your heart expands, your logic gets resilient, and your peace gets very, very centered, right? So please join me in this. This is our great chance. I'm going to be 57 years old in a pretty short time, and so I can actually see the end of my existence, right? In our lifetime, we can make this next 50 years, this next 20 years, this next 300 years so great by just some of us getting to the truth right now. We can change the course of all things. And what a wonderful legacy, right? To be involved in something, to be involved in the truth. That's to say, I've given my life to God, whoever he or she is. I have surrendered to the truth. And that is the most beautiful jumping off point. If you can get to anywhere, get to there, and all other things fall in line. Every other single thing. At Rythmia, when you get merged, you can hear for the first time the truth calling you. It might take you some work to be able to break off what that truth is, but you will hear it. And once it starts calling you, the next couple years of your life are going to be pulled right back to that truth, always trying to get to the truth. And it's going to be hard, and it's going to be so beautiful, and it's going to pay such huge dividends in your life. So please, and I have to tell you what, when they ring the bell that it's time to go Rythmia again, we're going to be sold out. I'm not kidding you, a year in advance. So please, I don't care what's important in your life. You merging and getting to truth should be the most important thing, because after that, without that, there is no thing. I have to tell you, I had a ton of money, or not a ton of money compared to some people, but I had a ton of money. I had a ton of money, yeah. And I had nothing, no thing. You know, I thought if you had 50 million bucks, everything would be great. And it was the worst, and I had more than that, and it was the worst time of my life. Until you have this, you have nothing. And when you have this, you have everything. And not that when you have this, everything is easy. Please don't get that confused. But everything is more fulfilling. It's just as fucking hard, but everything is more fulfilling. And I want to tell you, it's nice to walk through life knowing that you're contributing to the truth, that you're at least contributing yourself to your own truth. And then once you do that, then the truth of what's going on around you becomes more clear. So God bless you. I want to see you here. And I want everybody to have the right to feel this. And I have to tell you something, and I want to just say that. Like, everybody has their own definition of what happiness is. But for me, it's contentment, yeah? And to be able to feel content and feel like you're a part of a whole. You know, my whole life, I felt like I never was. And then I did the medicine, and all of a sudden, it became so real to me that I'm every bit as much of a piece of it as everybody else is. And it's made such a huge difference in my life. So I'm calling you to come to Rythmia and get here. And know that there's good times coming. That all of this is an illusion, but it's an illusion with a purpose to bring the truth out. So please stay with us and share this. Facebook, change how they do things. Share this so people hear it. God bless you. God keep you. God hold you. Cheers.